Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Existentially Fed. We're going to be talking about LOVE. Yes, we're going to be talking about love. Love has been a topic in everyone's mouths for as long as humans have existed, and as long as humans have tried to apply language to the things that they feel and hear. I feel like one way that people do love a tremendous disservice is by confining it to romantic relationships solely. As we can look around, we are in a recession of many things, materially, but also interpersonally, relationally. Our parents and their parents and their parents have tried to form a definition of love that they can pass down to the generations after them that has shifted and morphed depending on who is the messenger. Love is a deeply, deeply personal experience. It is not something that can be collectively defined, and even when it does, it's never going to encapsulate the full picture of what it feels like in another person's body. And something that I've noticed recently, especially because of just the on-spread of emotional unavailability that has been taking the world by storm, is that people don't know how to love for real. People don't know how to love for real. People are mimicking what they have been taught love to look like, but they are not feeling it. They're not moving through it. They're not experiencing it. Because to me, in order to be able to actually experience love, there's a certain level of unpredictability that people fear deeply when it comes to making connections. A lot of people's love in their mind comes with a certain level of milestones, of societal approval and signifiers that then define to them that they are experiencing love the right way. To me, relationships are meant to be this like co-creation where you find people, and I'm saying people who are compatible with you enough and challenge you enough to introduce you to the lessons and the skills and the parts of yourself, the identities that you are going to take on that actually bring value to your life and actually align with who you desire to be. I think people have it warped that is supposed to be perfect. I think our unrealistic expectations for relationships are also compounded with this deep need to survive. And I'm saying, like, there's nuance to all of these reasons why you would want to be in a connection with somebody. But when you're just merely scratching the surface of, oh, this would be the person that my parents would be happy that I married because of the way that it looks, or this person is a good partner because they have money, because they have a house, because they have all these things, you stop seeing that person as a human being and start seeing that person as a bridge to what you want independently. Even in the context of, like, for example, U-hauling and queer lesbian relationships or sapphic relationships, there's this like stereotype of moving very quickly. And that goes for a lot of relationships actually, but specifically in the queer context, when we look at the history of queer people's ability to pursue romantic connections has been sabotaged for a long time, you know? Getting married, having children, even being seen in public together has been something that queer people have not been given the chance to do without feeling like their lives are at risk, their connections are at risk. And so generationally, we've seen queer people rushing into relationships together because that comes from a place of survival, of feeling like I need to do this now. Otherwise, when is the next chance I'm gonna get? What's gonna happen next? What if my rights get taken away? And so it's easy to attach to people quickly because of this fear of loss that you are anticipating. And beyond the labels, I think also off the heels of the pandemic and the ways that, you know, the economy is looking, being alone, being left to fend for yourself feels like a threat to people's lives right now. It is a very scary time to not have community, to not have loved ones, to not have people you can rely on. And so a lot of people try to seek that comfort and seek that support. And I think because people have not been actively practicing what it means to be consistent in multiple relationships because of this codependent idea that we have of a romantic relationship being specifically what is going to give us the stability that we need for our entire lives, people cop out of actually practicing what it means to show up in multiple connections. What does it mean to feel like you can rely on another person? What does it mean to not have to mask for another person and to trust that you'll still be loved for being who you are? I feel like a lot of people, in order to hold on to these material things that they get access to as a result of connecting with a person, they put on a performance in order to keep that person. Or even sometimes in friendships, sometimes people perform. In familial relationships, sometimes people perform because they don't want to lose those connections. And I say this as somebody who, I don't have such a deep connection with my extended family because of my public facing identity as a queer person. That has cut me off from a plethora of resources. Like, some people can reach out to their cousins, their uncles, their aunts for certain things to protect them, and I can't. And it would be very easy for me to take that pain and try and find that relief in someone. Or I could have chosen the path of performing just so I can get my needs met. But ultimately, living in those lies, living in that performance kills the spirit, kills the soul. I think that a lot of people think that love comes from performing for the people they want acceptance from. But that will never be love, because love accepts you in your entirety. That doesn't mean that you don't grow with people. That doesn't mean that you don't change with people, but you consent to that change. You take on that responsibility of that transformation. And in many ways, you wouldn't do something that doesn't serve you. So there's a difference between forcing yourself to be someone that you're not and willingly choosing to take on new parts of yourself because it will benefit you in the long run, and you are happy to learn how to transform so you can love the people around you better. I know that some people say, like, love is not enough, we need this, we need that, and I get that. But when love truly comes into your life and shows up authentically and intentionally, it will open up your soul to parts of yourself that bring you such immense personal power that you can take on things that you were too scared to take on. When you truly feel like you have the support and care of people around you who want to see you happy, who want to see you thrive, who understand you. And even if they don't understand you in your entirety, they're committed to learning you. That makes you feel unstoppable. Whatever obstacles come your way, you are not alone in pursuing them. And that's not to say that you are dependent on those relationships, because another facet of love, that love that I just described to you, that breathes life into you, that empowers you to stand in who you truly are and face the world that way, that is a love you can give yourself. To feel beautiful in the eyes of another person, to feel cared for, to feel supported. These are all attributes, these are all experiences that you can provide yourself. In order to even welcome that level of care into your life, you need to address where it's needed. So part of love is also being vulnerable. Part of love is also facing the parts of yourself that are wounded, looking at them and saying, maybe I do need a little more help here. Maybe the support of a community would help me in this area of my life. Maybe a partner would make me feel safe in this area of my life. And I'm not saying don't strive for those specific relationship structures. If you in your soul know that you want a lover, a partner, somebody to walk this earth with, a companion, go for it. Even being able to acknowledge that is something that you want, that is something that would fulfill you, that is an act of love. That's an act of self-love. To be able to sit there and be like, no, I do deserve a partner who loves me and cares for me. Denial of those needs, denial of that need for soothing, of that need for support, of that need for care, or even of that need for a deeper understanding of oneself is how pain, abuse, and trauma comes out of relationships. Being someone that you're not just to keep somebody That is possessive. That is manipulative. And I know that people don't want to like acknowledge that because it makes them feel like they're a bad person. No, because so many of us are susceptible to that performance, that people pleasing. Not only is that manipulative, but that sets you up for failure because you are only being loved for that show that you're putting on. You are only being cared for, you are only being supported because that person thinks you are someone that you're not. And not only that, you are keeping that person stuck and unable to pursue a relationship that actually is a true, authentic reflection of what they desire. Everybody getting got. That's where we get all of these people who are betraying each other left and right, doing story times on TikTok talking about this is how my ex bamboozled me, right? And we don't have to navigate relationships like that. And I think that a lot of people prefer doing that song and dance over and over and over again instead of being alone and allowing that time alone to inform what they know about themselves so that they can present it to people. And that goes for platonic relationships too. When somebody asks you, what are you looking for in a connection? You actually have the language to give them so they can say, oh, I can see myself potentially fulfilling this role or like co-creating this with you. Or they'll say no. And I'm a believer of rejection being protection. Being rejected by something that does not serve you is giving you more time so that you can prepare for when that thing that actually is for you comes in. And I specifically also want to hold space for people who are learning what love means to them from scratch because they haven't had healthy models of what connection actually looks like. And I'm hoping that the more that we step into authentic ways of relating and connecting, and the more that we are patient and present with that process of vetting people and experiences, platonic, romantic, or otherwise, that when we all collectively start doing that work, we have more examples to pass on to one another. Love is not just reserved for people, even. Love is a experience. Love is whatever fills your cup, inspires you, makes you feel safe, brings you healing, brings you growth in a way where on the other end of that transformation is always a stronger version of yourself. Love will never break you down. Love will never make you feel small. I feel love whenever I do something that inspires me. Whenever I make art, I feel so much love in my body. Whenever I'm in like a really beautiful place, like nature, by the water, whenever I'm like seeing like wildlife in person, like animals, I feel so much love. Whenever I do my hair, you know, that post-protective style glow, I feel so much love. It is possible to feel love for ourselves, for the people in our lives, for this planet, for the earth, for our pets, for animals, for experiences, for songs. You ever have a really good conversation with a stranger? I'm not saying that you're in love with them, but do you ever have moments where you're just like, being a human is kind of cute? That to me is a love for humanity. And so I want us to expand the ways that we define connection. I want us to think outside of just the traditional ways that we had been taught growing up love was supposed to look like. I feel like if people felt the true scale in which love is accessible, so much healing would be done on a collective level. So many people wouldn't feel so alone. For the people who like the journal prompts, I got you. The first journal prompt will be, how do you care for the things in your life? I feel like a lot of people are always looking for how somebody else can love them. Do you even know what it feels like for another person to be loved by you? So write down, what does it feel like for another person to experience your care, to experience your presence, your time, your energy? And also write about what makes you feel fulfilled, what kind of love you want to welcome into your life. And I challenge you to not just write about romance. I challenge you to write what familial love looks like to you, platonic friendships look like to you, any type of intimacy that could come into your life. I want you to call it in. Call it in. So yeah, shout out to all the lovers out there. It is not a weakness to care for other people. Although we can go through some traumatic experiences that make us believe that we made ourselves vulnerable and susceptible to being taken advantage of or harmed, don't let that stop you from trying again. Because one day you will experience a love that is so overwhelmingly certain and so overwhelmingly catered to you that you will thank yourself for never closing yourself off. Bye.